Morning, students. I am discussing the constitutional provisions relating to environmental protection in India. In last lecture, I discussed several points like preamble, federal system of the government, and directive principles of state policy. In preamble, I told that it is started with the term "We the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign socialist democratic republic." Here the term socialist can be interpreted as providing clean atmosphere, providing clean environment to all the people despite of caste or other discrimination. As the term socialist is very vast term, and presence of pollutants in the atmosphere in the excess of prescribed limit is one of the major social issue. Thus, in the term of environmental pollution, the socialism as the basic aim of preamble, it is the responsibility of the state to fulfill by taking stringent measure to make environment free from all the form of pollutions. While the second part which I discussed was federal system of government, in which I discussed the subject matter distribution between center and state. I discussed about three lists of Schedule 7, especially the subjects related to environmental protection or environmental issue. And also, I discussed several articles as well. Article 254, which provides that in an instance passing state law subsequent to central law, then if the state law has got the assent of president, then it shall be prevail. And the subject mentioned in concurrent list, the parliament have power to make law on that subject, and same time the state have also to make law on this on that subject. But the conflict arises in that situation where the state has made the law on any subject listed in concurrent list, and the parliament also made law for that subject. Then in general the law made by parliament shall prevail, but in special condition, if the state law has got the consent of president, then it shall prevail. I told Article 51 also, Article 51C of Indian Constitution provides that states shall foster respect for international law and the obligation of the treaties. So here under Article 51 Clause C provides that the state or nation shall follow the international commitments. And other important provision which I discussed in last lecture was protection of environment, especially under Article 253 of the Constitution, which empowers the Parliament of the country, same as Article 51C, to make laws which can be applicable to whole or any territory of the country for implementing any agreement, convention signed with the other country or countries. So Article 51C and Article 253 both provides that the state shall fulfill its international commitments for applying the obligation of international treaties or making law as per commitment by other nation or international commitments. Third point which I discussed in last lecture was obligation of the state and environmental protection. Means, in other sense, I told the directive principles of state policies for the protection of environment, in which I discussed two articles, Article 47 and Article 48. And also, I also pointed out that Article 48A was inserted in the Constitution by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, which clearly explicit about the environmental protection provision, especially the direction to the state regarding protection of environment in India. While Article 47, which was in the original Constitution of India, puts an obligation on the state that shall regard the raising level of nutrition and standard of living of its people. So here the term raising the level of nutrition means everyone have right to food which is unadulterated, and also the standard of living of its people means everyone have right to live in pollution free environment, and thus it is obligation of on the state to provide pollution free environment to its people. I quoted certain cases like Hamid Khan versus State of Madhya Pradesh, Vellore Citizen Welfare Forum. Despite of these three provisions, there are certain other provisions regarding protection of environment in India. One time, if anyone has fundamental right of environment, it is proved that no right can be claimed unless and until there is no duty of other person. So Indian Constitution provides directive principles of state policy, means state have to make policy to protect and foster the environment and ecology. At same time, under Indian Constitution, the duty of citizen have been also provided under fundamental duties. So the duty of state in protecting the environment are basically the right of citizen. And the concept of right and duty respectively coexist, means if there is right, there is duty. If there is right of a person, then there is duty of other person also in respect of the right of that person. So they are interconnected. And if citizens have right to a decent standard of living and pollution-free environment, then the same time they are obliged to protect it and not carry on activity which prove to be dangerous for the society at large and all other living beings. एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल मैं देना चाहूंगा इस रिगार्ड में। जैसे right to pollution free and right to live in pollution free environment is a fundamental right, ये आप लोगों को पता है। सेम टाइम स्टेट को भी डायरेक्शन दिया गया कि अपने पीपल को पोल्यूशन फ्री एनवायरनमेंट प्रोवाइड कराएं, लेकिन it is practically impossible for a state to provide clean atmosphere for every person everywhere. आप ट्रेन से जा रहे हैं, बस से जा रहे हैं, बस अभी साफ सुथरा दिख रहा है, लेकिन आपके बगल में एक आदमी बैठा है या आप खुद ही मूंगफली लेके खाने लगते हैं और उसका छिलका वहीं गिराते हैं, या बगल में बैठा हुआ व्यक्ति स्मोकिंग करने लगता है। आपका राइट यहाँ पे है पोल्यूशन फ्री एनवायरनमेंट में रहने का, इसके लिए लॉ भी बना दिया गया है। इफ एनीवन वायलेट्स दिस राइट देन दैट पर्सन विल बी पनिश्ड। लेकिन इंस्टेंटली आपका राइट जो वायलेट हो रहा है उसके लिए आपको खुद जागरूक होना पड़ेगा, आपको खुद मना करना पड़ेगा ऐसे स्मोकर को, जिसकी वजह से आप अनविलिंगली स्मोकिंग करने के लिए बाध्य हैं। जो उसका धुआं उठ रहा है, धुआं निकल रहा है, वो आप इनहेल करने के लिए बाध्य हो रहे हैं। तो इसके लिए आपको खुद ही मना करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि वहां स्टेट हर जगह अवेलेबल नहीं होगा। तो इट इज ड्यूटी ऑफ सिटीजन also to make pollution free environment। उस व्यक्ति का भी दायित्व है, उस व्यक्ति की भी ड्यूटी है जो स्मोकिंग कर रहा है या पोल्यूशन कर रहा है, और साथ में आपकी भी एक ड्यूटी है कि उसे मना करें पोलाइटली। सो if the citizen have right to a decent standard of living and a pollution free environment, then at the same time they are obliged to protect it and not carry on activity which prove to be dangerous for the society large and all other living beings. So the concept of right was quite prevalent in comparison to the concept of duties prior to the 42nd Amendment of the Constitution, and more importance was attached to the right than duty by the supreme law of the land. But the framers of the Indian Constitution felt that it is necessary to shoulder the burden of protecting environment between both the state and the citizen. Also, citizens were more concerned with their rights and started neglecting their duties. Therefore, Part 4A was inserted by the Constitution after 42nd Constitution Amendment Act 1976, and Part 4A of the Constitution, which deals with fundamental duties, Article 51A subclause G especially deals with the fundamental duty of the citizen to protect and improve the natural environment, which includes forests, rivers, lakes, wildlife, and to have compassion for living creature. Like the duty of state, by virtue of Article 51A G, it is duty of all the citizen not only to protect the environment but also taking measures which are adequate enough to improve the environment. Because nature has gifted us with the resources and a pollution-free environment, and due to industrialization or in the wheel of development, we have polluted our environment, and this casts duty upon the citizen to keep their resources in the same condition for the future generation. So the principle of intergenerational equity plays a major role in the environmental protection by sustainable use of natural resources. Same has been put in Kinkari Devi versus State, in which Himachal Pradesh High Court provided that in Article 48A and Article 51AG, it was held that it is both constitutional point of the state and constitutional duty of citizen not only protect the environment but also improve it, and to preserve and safeguard the forests, the flora and fauna, and the rivers, lakes, and all the water resources of the country. The negligent to abide by the pointer or perform the duty is nothing, basically the straight betrayal of fundamental law of the land. And in the case of betrayal, the court cannot remain silent spectator. A court can intervene at any time to make the implementation of the provision by issuing writ and directions as it thinks fit for and necessary. Here I want to cite one more case which I discussed in earlier lecture as well. L.K. Kulwal versus State of Rajasthan and others, in which the municipality of Jaipur was being negligent in carrying on its basic duty of maintaining the hygiene of the state. This caused acute sanitation problem, thereby leading to have hazardous effects on the life of people of the state. Mr. Kulwal, along with the other resident, moved an application under Article 226 of Indian Constitution before the High Court, Jaipur, highlighting the gross negligence of the municipality. I clearly interpreted the case in last lecture that Jaipur Development Authority pleaded that it is not duty of the authority to unpollute the environment, and same time it argued that the authority have no sufficient cost to clean the environment or make drainage. It was decided by High Court, that the authority cannot escape by saying that it have no proper money to fulfill his obligation. It is duty of state to provide pollution-free environment, so the Jaipur Development Authority is bound to follow his duty. While constructing the scope of Article 51A, in this case, the court explained that article is not only a duty but a right created in favor of citizens to have the locus standing to move the court and to have check on the conduct of state activities. Whether the authorities are performing their duties or not in accordance with the fundamental law of the land. The right to move court is granted to the citizen for proper enforcement of state's duty and of their relevant department or local bodies, etc. And being negligent in maintaining hygiene and sanitation standard slowly affects the life of living beings. And this infringes the fundamental right of life of citizen as provided under Article 21, which also extend to have a decent standard of living and a clean and safe environment. Thus, we can say that citizen protecting their fundamental right to life from being infringed is justified. So the court directed the municipality in L.K. Kulwal case to remove the dirt and all the filthy materials which was posing great threat to the lives of the people and also the health of the people. Other important provision has been given in fundamental rights. Right to life under Article 21 of Indian Constitution. Article 21 of Constitution provides for fundamental right to life. It states that no person shall be deprived of his right to life or personal liberty except in accordance with the procedure established by law. The term procedure, except in accordance with the procedure established by law, can be interpreted to mean that this provision is subject to the exception and is regulated by the law, which varies from case to case. And it is to be noted that the provisions given in Article 21 begins with the negative phrase, as it starts with the word no. That is the reason it has been given a negative impact. But post Menka Gandhi case, this provision has been given a positive interpretation and positively cast a duty on the state to enforce the due implementation of this law. That's why it is called that after Menka Gandhi case, the interpretation of Supreme Court is shifting from the procedure established by law towards due process of law. कॉम्पिटेटिव एग्जाम्स में क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, ये क्यों कहा जाता है कि आफ्टर मेनका गांधी केस द व्यू ऑफ इंडियन जुडिशरी इज टिल्टेड टू ड्यू प्रोसेस ऑफ लॉ फ्रॉम द प्रोसीजर एस्टेब्लिश्ड बाय लॉ. दिस इज द रीजन. And right to life includes the right to have dignified life and also the bare necessities of life like food, shelter, clean water, cloth, etc. And the right to live extends to having a decent and clean environment in which individuals can live safely without any threat to their lives. An environment shall be free from disease and all sorts infections. This is crucial because right to life can be fulfilled only when one lives in a clean and safe environment. Otherwise, granting the such right would prove be meaningless. So this aspect of Article 21 has been evidently discussed in the case of rural litigation and entitlement Kendra Dehradun versus State of Uttar Pradesh. In this case, petitioner along with other citizens wrote to Supreme Court expressing their views against progressive minings which denuded the Mansoori hills of trees and forest and soil erosion. This leads to having an adverse effect on the environment and resulted in landsliding along with blockage of underground water channels. The registry was ordered by Honorable Supreme Court to consider this letter as a writ filed under Article 32 of the Constitution. So an expert committee was appointed by Supreme Court in this behalf to advise the Honorable Court with some technical issue. On the basis of report provided by the expert committee, the court provided the limestone quarries to be closed because it was infringing the right of the people of that area, that is right to life and personal liberty, and quarrying operations lead to ecological degradation and air and water pollution which affected the lives of the people to a great extent. And in Charan Lal Sahu versus Union of India, it was held that the duty of state is to take adequate and effective step for the enforcement and protection of constitutional right granted under Article 21, Article 48A and Article 51A G. In MC Mehta versus Union of India, due to stone crushing activities around the Delhi, was causing huge problem of pollution in the environment. The court was conscious of the inevitable consequences of ecological problem caused due to the industrial activities of the country. In the name of environmental development, it cannot be permitted to degrade the quality of ecology and increase the different form of pollution to the extent that it becomes health hazards to the lives of the citizen. It was further held by the Supreme Court that citizens have right to fresh air and have pollution-free environment in which they live. Further, the scope of Article 21 was broadened by judiciary to include under its purview of the right to livelihood as well. It includes right of citizen to earn their livelihood along with the right to life. So the wider interpretation of Article 21 has proved to be beneficial in keeping strict check on the conduct and action of the government in this context. That measures taken by authorities to protect the environment. It is also beneficial in keeping checks on the activities of state which can have massive impact on the environment, health of individual, and threat to the livelihood of poor. So we see that Indian judiciary has very conscious while dealing with the matters of development and environmental protection to avoid the conflict between these two aspects. And in very famous case, which is known as Taj Trapezium Zone case, the ample of industry near Taj Trapezium Zone were using coke and coals as an industrial fuel. The industries were ordered to be reallocated to an alternative site as provided under Agra Master Plan. The right and duty of the workmen in the industry also specified by the code following the principle of sustainable development. Article 14 also deals with fundamental right, that is the right to equality, and it also infringed some aspect of environmental protection. Equality before the law and equal protection of the laws has been granted under Article 14 of the Constitution, as it states that state shall not deny to any person equality before the law or equal protection of the laws within the territory of India. This fundamental right impliedly casts a duty upon the state to be fair while taking action in regard to environmental protection. Thus, it cannot infringe Article 14. And in cases of exercise of arbitrary power on behalf of state authority, the judiciary has played a strict role in forbidding the arbitrary action. Use of discretionary power without measuring the interest of public violates fundamental right of equality of the people. In an important case, Bangalore Medical Trust versus B.S. Mudappa, an improvement scheme was prepared by City Improvement Board of Bangalore for the purpose of extending the city. A low-level park was to be developed, for which an area was kept under the scheme. But under the direction of the Chief Minister of the area, kept for the low-level park was to be converted into civic amenity site where the hospital was to be constructed. As soon as the construction begins, residents moved to the High Court. The petition was allowed by a High Court, but in appeal to the Supreme Court, the appellant contended that the power to allot site is completely a discretionary power, and the developing authority has the right to allow the site for making a hospital rather than park, and thus diverted use of the land was justified in the eyes of appellant. By explaining the importance of open space and park in the development of urban areas, the Supreme Court rejected the appeal and further stated that the open space, recreation, playing ground, and protection of ecology are matter of vital importance of the interest of public and crucial for the development. Keeping open space for interest of public is justified and cannot be sold or given on lease to any private person solely for sake of monetary gain. So these were constitutional provisions for protection of environment. There are certain other provisions as well. For example, freedom of speech and expression is also important for environmental protection. Freedom of trade, commerce, and environmental protection is also an important. Freedom of speech and expression is fundamental right, which is especially mentioned in Article 19(1), subclause A of Part 3 of Constitution. There have been a number of cases where people have approached to court to waive of speech and expressing themselves by writing letter. For example, as I told in the case of Rural Litigation Entitlement Kendra Dehradun case, where they have expressed the violation of their right to have clean and safe environment and the right to livelihood. And it is well established that in India, the media has been playing crucial role in holding the protection of people's issue relating to environment. So Article 19(1)(a) is interpreted to include freedom of press as well. And freedom of trade and commerce, our citizens of India have a fundamental right to carry on any protection or business, trade or commerce at any place within the territory of India under Article 19(1)(g). But this is not an absolute right. It has a reasonable restriction to it. Article 19, Clause 6 laid down reasonable restriction to fundamental right to avoid the environmental hazards. So the purpose to avoid the ecological imbalance and degradation of the atmosphere in the name of carrying on a trade, business, occupation, or carrying on any profession. Thus, in the name of business or profession, one cannot cause harm to the environment. Same was cited by Honorable Court in MC Mehta versus Union of India, AIR 1988, as certain tanneries were discharging effluents in Puli Ganga river, which was causing water pollution. And further, no primary treatment plant was being set up despite of constant reminder. So it was held by the court to stop the tanneries from working because the effluent drainage were 10 times more noxious as compared to ordinary sewage water which flows into the water. So we see that the role of Supreme Court in environmental protection is very important, whether it is in the name of fundamental right or directive principles or fundamental duties or any other provision of Indian Constitution.